Hello, and welcome to Recent Activity, your new favorite entertainment review podcast that attempts to cover every film, every show, all at once. I am your co-host, Andrew Morgan. With me, as always, straight from the Andromeda Galaxy, it's Shane Beauregard. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, buddy. And our title of our show is apropos for this episode because we are covering everything.
Everything. Although we did, I'm very proud of both of us. We did cover a lot. We watched a lot of TV, movies, the whole 9 yards. We are all over the theater for basically the whole week. I think I watched like 6 movies in 6 days. You were like bouncing between theater and streaming and just covering a bunch of stuff. And then on top of it, we had multiple TV finales and the whole thing. But for today's purposes, we are paring it down. I'm very proud of us for doing that, partially because you're having your Michael Jordan flu game right now. You're about to burst. So we will get to the point on this one. This one is going to be a fun little game for us. It is going to be Contender or Pretender. We're going to have a bunch of movies that, if you talked about in the beginning of the year, felt like these were all going to have something to say when it comes to award season. We have high-profile directors, big-time stars, the whole 9 yards, film festival movies, things that were definitely on the radar for us at some point in the year. And maybe some of these are going to fall off because here we are in November now, Shane. We had our fun holiday Halloween weekend. I assume you did your Walking Dead costume, correct?
Last of Us, but yeah, same thing, right?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. But I got no pictures, and I'm very sad about that. So
Sorry.
You have to rectify that before
I will.
We leave for the evening. But yeah, no, great time, great weekend. It's also my daughter's birthday. We had a good time. Watched Game 7 of the World Series. Tons of football on Sunday. Beautiful weekend. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, we're in November now, Shane. So now it's getting the real. So we're going to hit all the heavy dramas, the awards players. We got a few fun ones, our typical horror or action movies stuff built in. But today is all about the awards players. A little bit, some goofballs in here, but a lot of heavy dramas and things like that. So everybody buckle up. But we're going to lead with the goofy one first, Shane. As okay. I mentioned the Andromeda Galaxy already in the intro. Bugonia. This was the big one for the weekend. This was you and I both kind of circling like, yeah, we're going to watch a lot of stuff, but this one is the one. Because you're a Yorgos guy. Like, you watch generally all of his stuff, right?
Yep. Love the guy.
Are you, because this is going to come up probably, are you the weirder he gets, the happier you are kind of a thing? Or are you like more of the straight down the middle or more down the middle favorite Poor Things-ish category for him?
I like more Poor Things the favorite, which I guess the favorite's kind of down the middle, but I do like I love The Lobster. Like, I love his weird stuff. I just love everything he does, to be honest with you.
Because from a lot of people's perspective, Bugonia is leaning more towards whacked out dogtooth level of stuff for him, which again, coming off of Kinds and Kindness, which I was more of a fan of, I think, than the general public was, but this one is definitely picking up. But will it have contender status when we talk about it? Let's get to it. Yorgos Lanthimos coming back with another Emma Stone movie. Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons back in. This is turning into like Wes Anderson and his day players, where Yorgos just keeps getting his same Yorgos guys. I love it. But adding in this time Aidan Delbris, Alicia Silverstone, and comedian Stavros Halkias. This is about 2 conspiracy-obsessed young men who kidnapped the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. Shane, I'll pitch it to you first, buddy. Is this a contender or a pretender?
This is a contender for me.
Yeah.
This is a contender for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Speak on it.
I really enjoyed this movie, though it's not my favorite of his, but what I say is a contender is Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons is why you watch this movie, and them two playing off each other is so dynamic and is so good. Especially Jesse Plemons was just crushed it in this film. I
Yeah.
liked the wackiness of this film. I loved where it was going. I was never bored in one moment of this film. And I
Yeah.
love how in the third act it went there. Like it went there. And I kind of figured out about a third of the way through the film, like, I think this is what it's going to turn out to be. And I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they stuck it. But everything was just, it was funny. It wasn't like funny, but there were a lot of funny lines in there, especially with Plemons and the kid you mentioned before. Aiden Delbus, I thought, his cousin was just terrific. This movie had it all, man. This was my kind of movie, and I was in it. And again, for me, this is a definite contender, especially with the acting categories for me.
Yeah, I definitely think Plemons and Stone, who get such, like you said, meaty, intense dialogue to work with. Plemons, especially not being afraid to get grimy and weird, but does it with such sincerity that keeps you on the hook for the entire movie. And then just some explosive outbursts, which you don't see from him either. I definitely enjoyed all that. Stone, I like the fact that she got more than what I thought, being just, someone who's, in a hostage situation. So she's going to have a little more limited role, but when she's on, she is just on. Because I found it so interesting that she's like this avatar for like corporate billionaire doublespeak, but she also she can't tip one way or another. She has to be so consistent, even when she's trying to be duplicitous, to mess with the audience enough to not know genuinely where the hell this movie is going. So that's so hard to do, and I think it goes underappreciated. I think this is a contender as well, even though it only made $11 million worldwide so far, which is troubling, and especially because I think it's literally like a half-half domestic international split. That's not great. So, this is not going to be Poor Things, where Poor Things made like $90 to $100 million, which is sad. But I do think that this could sneak into Best Picture. I think especially because if you have two people like Plemons and Stone, if they get into their respective categories, tough year to do so, but I think they might. And then I believe this is going to have to go adapted because they went off of the blueprint of this, I want to say South Korean movie from like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago I think it's called like Save the Green Planet or something. Mm-hmm. So using that, I think this would have to be an adapted screenplay, so that might have the goods as well. I don't think Yorgos will get in for director, but I think this has enough to like hang around and maybe get a little more momentum in award season and hopefully also at the box office. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Do you want to do a rating too, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, no, let's do ratings, man. I gave it a solid 4 out of 5.
So did I. Absolutely. That's exactly where I was, because like you said, this is not my favorite Yorgos Lanthimos movie. It's not my favorite Yorgos and Emma Stone thing. However, it is so engrossing. It's so insane that you have to enjoy it. It's unassailable. It's undeniable. Next movie, Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere. This is directed by Scott Cooper, who you might have seen his previous films, Hostiles or Pale Blue Eye or Out of the Furnace or Crazy Heart. He's definitely all over the map, but he has a certain type, and we'll get to that in a sec. Stars Jeremy Allen White as Bruce Springsteen. Jeremy Strong is here as well. Paul Walter Hauser, my man. Stephen Graham, Odessa Young, who we liked in The Damned and The Order. Her playing Faye, who's basically his composite character, love interest character in Bruce Springsteen's life. This is about, obviously, Bruce Springsteen, a young musician on the cusp of global stardom, struggles to reconcile the pressures of success with the ghosts of his past. Shane, I'll give it up to you again, sir. Pretender or contender?
This pains me to say, but it's a pretender. Yeah. I was let down with this movie. Outside of Jeremy Allen White's performance, which I thought was really good, this was a just paint by numbers biopic. To me, it was a 2-hour film that felt like it was 4 hours, which is a cardinal sin. Like every time I thought it was going to end, it just kept going. And I'm like, okay. Like I appreciate watching movies like this and watching the artistic process of how people make certain albums. And I love like the details of him, like wanting that tape, and they brought it to this other guy to like leave all the echo sounds. Like I loved all that.
Yeah, I did.
But to me, it just was cookie cutter. I was bored with it. I wanted a little more upbeat. It was too downtrodden for me. And I don't belittle anyone who has anxiety or goes through their things, right? Like everyone processes that stuff different. But like what he went through as his father, I'm looking at him like, was it that bad? Like if it was, they didn't show enough of it for me to even think it was like enough for him to go what he was going through. So at the end of the day, outside of his performance, it's a pretender for me, man. I was so let down with this movie.
I'm in the same group. I had such a hard time with all the flashbacks and the father stuff and where his head was at. They lose a lot of time just doing nothing or going into tangents that don't even matter. And the worst part, Shane, is if you actually do a little research on the book, or if you read the book that this is based on, it's based on a book called Deliver Me From Nowhere. It's where they get the title from. But it doesn't have a lot about his parents, and in fact talks more about his grandparents. And I think he even had like an aunt pass away that he felt haunted by in some way, and like has a lot of other things going on. So it's interesting the choices that they made. And again, Scott Cooper, when he makes some of these movies, he just can't help but just going south and just living in this malaise that he just dwells in for far too long. I feel like Out of the Furnace was that way too, and some of his other work. And I just couldn't wrap my mind or my heart around this, or my arms around it, whatever cliche thing you want to say. But yeah, the cliche, a lot of things, the walk hardness of this, where it's like, you know, it's not full cradle to the grave, but they do enough flashbacks and stuff that it's a lot more of his life than you'd think. And I don't know, it just didn't work. And the problem is, you're right, I would say normally in any given year, they wanted this to obviously be like Chalamet with Dylan easily. But two things, I mean, it's made only $30 million. That's not good, you know, especially in the first couple weeks. That's basically a death sentence. If it gets up to 50, you're going to be like doing backflips at this point, I guess. But Best Actor is a loaded category. Jeremy Allen White was kind of like in pencil in the beginning of the year with such a meaty role, high-profile role. But did you feel like this was a little bit very reminiscent? Like he's in this zone where he's playing a little bit of his role in The Bear in a lot of things he does. Like he seeks out almost these roles that get into this register where he's kind of this broken, you know...
anxiety-ridden,
anxiety-ridden, downtrodden characters. Like, I don't know. I didn't watch Shameless, so I'm a little out of my depth with that. But I feel like that I've seen clips of that to where it seems like he broke out of that a little bit. I hope he gets out of it a little bit in his next stuff to get out of being typecasted. But, you know, they're still continuing The Bear, even though we thought that wasn't going to happen. So I don't know. And if he's going to be in it and how much, I don't know. But I think for this, a lot of people were also penciling in Jeremy Strong. I don't think his role is big enough.
No,
and honestly, like their relationship is good, but like it's not everything. And there's a lot of weird scenes where he's like talking to his wife, where it's like where she basically only exists to like give this exposition or like speaking his feelings out loud, and it's like this is awkward and weird.
Right.
There's so many odd scenes in this movie that I think between the box office, the critic backlash a little bit on it, and a mixture of all the other things we were saying, I think this is probably going to be a pretender and be on the outs completely. Golden Globes sounds like old school Golden Globe. Like if Jeremy Allen White, if he's going to get anywhere, it'd be that. But that's about it. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, ratings, 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 for me.
I fought on this one, but we're in the same zone.
Okay.
I was like, am I giving it a 3 just because I like Bruce so much? Because like Atlantic City is one of my favorite Bruce songs, and it did make me want to listen to more Bruce. But I don't know. Like you said, the process stuff, the actual like, there's not a whole lot of terrible stuff with him personally, I guess. And like the album and I like the fact that he like stood up for himself and made a big deal to like get this record made and all those things. So I was involved. So I think I'm giving it a 3.
Okay. We're close.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not exactly groundbreaking, the difference between those. So after The Hunt, I caught this one on the same night with the Bruce Springsteen movie. So when you hear my thoughts on this one, you'll be like, cool, nice double feature for you instead of watching football for the rest of your NFL Sunday. This is Luca Guadagnino's follow-up to Challengers and Queer. He had a big year last year, and this stars Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield, Ayo Edebri, Michael Stuhlbarg, Chloe Sevigny. Didn't we say it was that?
Yep.
Yeah, sure. This is close to home. That's the coolest part. We'll talk about that in a second. That this is a story based on a true story at Yale University in New Haven, right in my backyard. A college professor finds herself at a personal and professional crossroads when a star pupil levels an accusation against one of her colleagues, and a dark secret from her own past threatens to come to light. Contender or pretender? This is a pretender. And unfortunately, this is one that, when its initial reviews came out, it was very much a divisive thing. But it's like, oh, well, maybe it's the subject matter that is the division here, and whether people buy into this. It's a sensitive subject. It's a Me Too thing. It's, campus politics thing. It's got a lot of generational divide. So you think that's the problem. That's not the problem, Shane. The problem is the script is a mess. And the last few minutes, especially in the third act, is at times being like, wow, that confrontation is so great, and then ends on such a terrible, weird note that is just baffling. To say the least. So this movie, I was so like, Julia Roberts is so good, and Andrew Garfield is good in his role, but obviously he's a complicated character, and so is Ayo Edebri. Man, it pains me to say that I don't even know if Julia Roberts will get in, and that's crazy. But her reputation and how good she is, maybe she does, but I don't know. I can't see it. It's, again, a very loaded year, a lot of great movies. I'd have to dig deeper into like literally the slotting of maybe who's going in for Best Actress versus Best Supporting to see if she can get in, but I can't see it. The movie's too much of a mess and isn't clicking with critics and made very little money. So she'll probably be overlooked, which is a shame for a movie that literally people like the betting odds before all the festivals came out. This could have been probably like this, Hamnet, and maybe One Battle After Another were like, oh, these are the ones to look out for, watch out. And then this one just fell off the table. It was awful.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah. Next one, my review for this will be in full online on Thursday night into Friday. This is Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro's writing and directing effort, starring Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, and Christoph Waltz, who I did not know was in the movie until I watched the movie. That is how much he's been kind of cloaked by that. This is, of course, based on the Mary Shelley novel, but with significant changes. So I don't want, for a guy in Guillermo del Toro who has been making a version of Frankenstein monster movie stuff his whole life because he loves this material, I was shocked how much he streamlined and changed certain things in the novel to make this movie. This is, of course, Dr. Victor Frankenstein, a brilliant but egotistical scientist who brings a creature to life in a monstrous experiment that ultimately leads to the undoing of both the creator and his tragic creation. Shane, I'm happy to say this is a contender.
Nice.
This is strong crafts, which, shock. Guillermo del Toro is really good at, costumes, makeup and hair, production design. The man is meticulous in his production design. The lab and the castle and the ship and everything, I think he had made from hand. There was no CGI, nothing with that. The corpses were even impressive. It's funny because we brought this up with Alien Earth, like, it looked like a Tool video, like a little bit with some of the corpses reanimating and everything. I was like, this guy knows what's up. He's seen, some of the late stage, early 2000s Tool stuff. So I was excited. Everybody's good. Like, Elordi has this look to him that he's like this, almost like a Beauty and the Beast kind of thing, where he's like beautiful and tender and has a lot of emotion, but he's beastly and can throw people 50 yards. Like, it's crazy. Like, he's so monstrous and strong and everything else. Oscar Isaac is just madman, but also a romantic and has a lot of pain. And they sell everything that this is. And Mia Goth is just kind of she breathes life into this whole story, and she's the humanity connection that bridges a lot of this storyline. And I kept thinking about it. I'm like, I've seen the James Whale, the original Universal Monster movie, the Kenneth Branagh one with Robert De Niro is flawed, but is more faithful to the book. So I was expecting something closer to the Branagh one, especially because this one is like, I don't know, almost 2.5 hours. And so is Branagh's, or it's like somewhere close to that. I don't know, man. Like he streamlined a lot of storylines to where this one just cooked. It like really kept moving really well. And yeah, I was impressed with it. Like it is a little bloated. I'm not going to lie. Obviously 2.5 hours for a familiar story is going to, push on you a little bit. And also there's some CGI stuff here and a little bit of odd cinematography choices at times in the story, but it's kind of nitpicky when it comes to how much good is in here. They make it more of like a father-son thing. They increased his father's role. It's like a legacy thing. It's his mother dies young, and it's all about like breathing life and creating life and trying to, I think just all the alterations, I was very impressed. And I think with this one, beyond all the strong craftsmanship that I was saying will get them in certain categories, which will help them, I think, get into Best Picture. I think it's solidly probably in the 10, I don't know, probably in the back half. But I think the show of strength, if you start seeing their performances and or adapted screenplays talk coming up, I think that's when you're going to know, like, oh, this is like legit. But do I think it's going to have a chance to win Best Picture? Obviously not. I think it's really a 2 or 3 film race, and everybody else is just happy to be here so far. But I think if, I could see Elordi getting into Best Supporting or, something along those lines, and then seeing Adapted or some of these other ones come through. So I think this one's definitely a player. It's definitely a contender. Okay. I give it 4 out of 5.
That's encouraging to hear, because I obviously have this on my list.
Yeah. Just to round out the Netflix. Well, no, actually, sorry, we have more Netflix stuff. I'll do this real quick because this movie is in theaters now and comes out next week, I believe. This is Nouvelle Vague from Richard Linklater. I'll do this one real quick. This is about the French New Wave cinema of the 1960s. A young Jean-Luc Godard decides making films is the best film criticism. After being a critic for so long, he convinces a producer to fund a low-budget feature and creates a treatment with fellow New Wave filmmaker Francois Truffaut about a gangster couple. The result is Breathless, which is, French cinema classic of the time, one of the first features of the Nouvelle Vague era of French cinema. This one, I'll just get the game portion out of the way. This one I think is probably a pretender, but I will say that I had a fun time with this movie. And I only say it's a pretender because it's a very strong year for international feature movies, including possibly Left-Handed Girl coming from Netflix too, to even fight amongst themselves, because that's produced by Sean Baker, and it might have some more to say from a guy who just won Best Picture last year. So that's an interesting stuff. But I'll hat tip to Ryan Latanzio of IndieWire, who put it best, where he's like, it's a French New Wave hangout movie that's designed more for like exposure to classic cinema period and certain films and styles within it. I can't account for the accuracy of the sentiments or the players on the screen, but I found it charming and delightful. And it's kind of like, you're watching a movie being made with a guy who has a lot of like very particular style. He loved to run and gun. He liked to play with inspiration and spontaneity more than anyone I've ever seen or heard of. And I think there's something to that. And obviously for him to create a classic out of it, and all the discussions within all the other directors he talks to at the time and everything else, I think there's a lot of fun conversations, a lot of snark, and a lot of like just breathes cool. Like a director who's just like smoking cigarettes and wearing sunglasses all the time and be like, we're not shooting today. Like whatever. Like he didn't give a shit. He's got money and he's like, whatever. we're not shooting today. I'm not inspired. I don't have any dialogue for you. He wouldn't give them scripts ahead of time. Like the actors would just show up and be like, am I in this today? No, you can go home.
Wow.
Stuff like that. Like it was that spontaneity. Like not even just like improv. He would just be like, no, you got to wait for me to like kind of be inspired for where this story goes next. And then I'll fill you in the day of. Cause he's like, and he only did like 1 or 2 takes at best. It was an interesting look. And especially like I always wanted to know, like you hear guys like Clint Eastwood who do like only 1 or 2 takes because it loses authenticity as it goes along. This is kind of like the OG of that familiarity, that kind of style. So I don't know. I found it interesting as a cinephile head and everything else. It made me want to watch more French New Wave because that is a blind spot for me. So it made me want to watch Breathless, and it made me want to watch more that stuff in that period. So especially because I know like Wes Anderson's very inspired by it. So to me, I wish this was a contender, and maybe it's a fringe one, but I think it's a pretender just because of the strength of the year.
Gotcha.
But you can speak on this one as well. You watched this. We'll finish up the Netflix block here with Ballad of a Small Player, which came out on Wednesday, which shows you the lack of faith they had in this movie. Edward Berger, who's coming off a Conclave. He was he's been at the Oscars the last couple films, All Quiet on the Western Front plus Conclave. Colin Farrell is his muse in this one alongside Fala Chen and Tilda Swinton. The plot on this one: amid the glittering casinos of Macau, a gambler running from his past and his debts becomes fascinated by an enigmatic woman at the baccarat table. Gosh. This, unfortunately, I think I gave it a soft 3 in my review. And by the way, forgot to say, Nouvelle Vague, probably 3.5. Okay. But it's solid. It's good fun time. Ballad of a Small Player, I think is a soft 3, and it is also a pretender for me. I think the script really didn't work that effectively to make me care a whole lot or believe in Colin Farrell's character's ability to change. Berger's a good director, and I think you can sense the craft and feel the best when it's on, but it's not on consistently enough. And for a short film that relies a lot on like 1 or 2 scenes to make you convinced that this guy's a different person, even on rewatch, I rewatched it and liked it a little bit more, which is probably why I gave it the 3. But they really limit the effectiveness of any emotion on this or when to care. So I think this is not an awards player this year, especially for the crowded Netflix year that this is. What'd you think, Shane?
Yeah, it's definitely a pretender. As much as I like Colin Farrell is why I watched this movie. But like you say, coming off a Conclave and All Quiet on the Western Front, this is definitely the weakest that he's done by far. There are certain scenes that pop for me in this. Like, I love the colorscapes. I love some of the set pieces.
Sure.
But like Colin Farrell's character, you just can't shake off you. Like, you want him to redeem himself, but you figure you don't root for him at any point, at any time. Because like you said, he's not going to change at all. And I found this, but I think I told you, I didn't dislike this film, right? I was into it.
It was just kind of a little, it's messy and it doesn't make you care a whole lot. So you just kind of it ends and you're like, okay, that happened a little bit.
Yeah. Like, as much as you want to see Lord Doyle redeem himself, given the opportunities, he just always does the wrong thing. So it doesn't even make you care. Even like him and Tilda Swinton's scenes together, which I like, who doesn't like Tilda Swinton? I just thought like, they try to make him a little more redeemable and they give him some human qualities, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't work. And the end, they leave it kind of ambiguous. So like you have to like decipher the end for yourself. Cause I ain't gonna lie. There was a point where I thought he had a heart attack and died. That's what I thought for a moment, you know? And,
well, especially because they tip kind of like that there's a little bit of a ghost element, this hungry ghost thing in the conversations they're at.
Right.
They're like, oh, is he dead or what's going on?
Dead?
And then obviously you figure it all out as it goes along.
The script itself was messy, so the screenplay was kind of all over the place for this. But again, not Colin Farrell's best, but I do like some scenes. It's not directed poorly, in my opinion. It just was a mess of a screenplay for me. So at the end of the day, I just felt hollow. I'm like, okay, that's it. Okay. I gave it a soft 3 as well.
Yeah. I feel like, do you feel like if they changed the tone up one notch or one notch up or one notch down, that this could have been a better movie too? Like if it just picked a lane. I feel like it didn't pick a lane.
It had no lane. I think if they would have done a notch up, like you said, it could have played a little better. But it is too all over the place for me to care. And that's the worst offense is like you don't really care about anyone in this film except for kind of the young lady that he attaches himself to. Yeah.
I thought Ballad Chen was very good.
Yeah, she was really good. Yeah, absolutely.
And especially because they really hinged the movie on their time in the island and those conversations and trying to commiserate as like flawed people. Yeah. And I think that was part of the best stuff in the movie, but then it immediately goes away and he kind of becomes himself again. You're just like, all right, whatever. I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. And I kept reminding myself, like, it's called A Ballad of a Small Player for a reason. Like, he's not going to change. Like, this is his downfall. Yeah. Like, you want him, but then when he ends up taking the money he finds in the cabin in the water, you're like, oh, shit. All right. Well, he's not going to change.
Yeah. His stuff is in bad faith.
Yeah, absolutely. So, unfortunately, it's a big pretender on this film.
Yeah. Let's get to the last two, buddy. You were neck deep in Apple TV Plus. So congratulations for digging in the crates for these movies that came out a little bit ago, but worthy of discussion. Lost Bus. This one's been on my list, but it's been, once I kind of heard it may or may not be, it's on the fringe as far as like people caring for awards. I kind of put it on the back burner, so I'm curious what you think. This is from Paul Greengrass. It stars Matthew McConaughey and America Ferrera. It's about a determined father who risks everything to rescue a dedicated teacher and her students from a raging wildfire. So this one's got pretty good reviews, but I wonder if it's more of just like a down the middle crowd pleaser, like a streaming crowd pleaser, instead of like an awards play. What do you think, contender or pretender on this one?
It straddles the line. I don't think it definitely is a crowd pleaser for sure, and I thought McConaughey killed it, and this is some of America Ferrera's best work, in my opinion. That being said, as a film, it's definitely entertaining. It gets your pulse going. It's a crowd pleaser for sure. It straddles that line, but with everything else coming out this year, I don't see it as a contender as much as I kind of want it to be. It really moved along really well, and again, it's anchored by McConaughey's like downtrodden, a dad trying to connect with his son, getting a second chance, and him trying to ride his life. And the biggest problem I have with this movie is when it was shifted to him trying to get out of the fire, like the whole screen was black. You couldn't really see what was going on in those moments. And it kind of took me out of a lot of the film, but very entertaining. One of the better like streaming options I've seen this year, but I don't see it as a contender as much as I liked McConaughey and Ferrera together. Strong performances by both of them. But again, it was too choppy for me. And Greengrass has that, like when he did the Bourne series or the Bourne movie, like some of his action would seem choppy and would be hard for me to follow. It was kind of the same in this movie too. A lot of it is like I lost. I couldn't follow, but it's definitely worth a watch on Apple. I gave it a strong 3.5 out of 5 on this one.
So if you had to pick a strength that it might contend, like if you had your, a vote in the game or any of that, what would you go for, you think?
America Ferrera as she was probably the strongest element because we've seen better performances by McConaughey, even though this was strong. But in this I guess slot with the other people he'd have to contend with, I don't see him getting in there. But I definitely see Ferrera, possibly her name getting bannered around there because she was really strong.
Excellent. The other film you caught on Apple TV Plus, Highest to Lowest, this got a limited release out in theaters before it landed on the platform. This is Spike Lee's latest film starring Denzel Washington, Jeffrey Wright, and A$AP Rocky. This is when a music titan mogul is targeted with a ransom plot. He is jammed up in a life or death moral dilemma. This is a reinterpretation of Akira Kurosawa's crime thriller High and Low, now played out on the mean streets of modern day New York City. Now, obviously, you were saying McConaughey couldn't crack a Best Actor thing, but a lot of people, even though the movie has gotten mixed reviews here, they still might because he is Denzel. might tip a little extra in the favor of Denzel. Where'd you land with highest to lowest?
I don't see that, and if that does happen, I'll do this podcast naked. I don't see it for I don't see it for Denzel.
So this is a pretender for you.
This is a pretender. I was very entertained with this movie, but the movie actually played out like the title of the movie. It had some really great, strong scenes. There's especially like the way Spike Lee directed this film. He uses New York as a secondary character and like makes you feel the streets. There's a great scene that he directs like that's taking place during the Puerto Rican Day Parade. And that becomes very much a character of the movie. The performances are like high to low. Like the actress who plays his wife, Efenesh Hadera, was absolutely terrible. Every scene she was in, she just brought it down. It was like soap opera-ish kind of acting. Jeffrey Wright was really strong in this film. Like I loved his character. Like there were some really great scenes, but also to counterbalance that, there were some really cringeworthy scenes in this movie, especially when Denzel, again, like you said, he plays like this music mogul who's like losing his touch. He has like a morality complex to kind of sort through because basically like they kidnap his son supposedly, but they end up kidnapping the wrong kid and kidnap like his friend's kid. And he's debating whether he should pay to get his whatever. And it just kind of goes through that process. But like there's a part where he connects with like, this young rapper who's like behind everything. And the conversations between the two are just, they're cringe, dude. They're written so bad. Yeah, they're written so bad when he's trying to like act like a 25-year-old hip hop guy. And I'm like, but at the end of the day, I was entertained by this movie. This is like one of Spike Lee's straightforward, kind of like the Inside Man kind of movie. Like it's just, you know what you're getting.
I love that movie. You better not be
no,
playing
and
with
it's
that.
not. It's not anything like that, but it's kind of like that straightforward. Also, what kind of annoys me from Spike Lee a little bit, he kind of like explains stuff in the movie as it goes along. It's like I didn't need this character to explain or tell me the significance of this. Like he's trying to teach you a lesson while he's directing the movie. I just thought it was unnecessary.
Right.
So Pretender, though it is worth a watch, again, at the end of the day, I was entertained. I gave it a soft 3.
Yeah. See, this was kind of what we were talking about off mic because we were just like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to like kind of put these, awards players or things that were talked about early in the year. But I feel like a lot of these have fallen off for good reason. Like they either got pitched to streaming or they didn't go to the prominent festivals, and you could tell why. And there's a lot of this to where we're sitting here like, soft 3s, 2.5. Some of these ones for ones that we thought were going to be huge. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I'm glad to see, shaking out some things with Bugonia and Frankenstein kind of being the best of the goods here that are probably going to land in the best picture. I think Begonia's softer than Frankenstein in terms of not movie quality, but just like awards contention, right? Just because of the strange and the genre stuff, even though the Academy loves Yorgos, but they didn't do anything for Kinds of Kindness, and they kind of like a certain register with Yorgos, so we'll see if that plays out. But yeah, I think a lot of these unfortunately were a little disappointing and are gonna be falling off to the wayside, so making way for things like Marty Supreme or Wicked for Good or Avatar to step up in the post film festival hasn't really been seen by a lot of people category.
You always have to bring up Avatar, don't you? You just have to keep bringing up
I thought you were
Avatar.
going to say you had to bring up Wicked. I mean, those are two like kind of, middle fingers for both of us.
I will say if everything that we just reviewed and watched, the movie that I was let down by the most, I was most disappointed in, was the Springsteen movie. I had really high hopes for that movie. And of everything we've covered and seen, that to me was like the biggest letdown was that movie. So
I also held out hope that even for all the poor reviews that are mixed reviews at best that After the Hunt got, I heard some friends of mine who were like, oh no, I ended up really liking it. So I kind of got my hopes back up again. And I was like, nah, this movie didn't work. Like there's a lot of good in it. And obviously I like Guadagnino, so that hurts, and the people in here, and there's some really good performances, but I just couldn't get fully around it, and especially it just ends so poorly. It's a tough one, but yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting time now. We get kind of a reprieve, I think, coming up for the next few weeks with, we got Predator Badlands.
Oh my God,
Shane
my pants are about to pop. My pants are about to pop off.
Because, Trachtenberg back in his game again, but this time in the driver's seat after Killer of Killers came out earlier in the year. And then, of course, how much we like Prey. So definitely looking forward to this one. And then we got things like Christie, which is, a mixed bag out there, but at least maybe the performance. I'm hoping for at least like I, Tanya level of quality.
That's what I'm looking. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I don't know if it's going to reach there, but we'll see. That'll be interesting. Yeah, but then there's, I don't know, November's a mixed bag, and then we got like because the big stuff like Wicked and Zootopia 2 and things like that, we're probably not going to cover a lot. We might end up in there because of children or other significance, but yeah, we'll see how much we touch on those. So November's going to be interesting. There is a bunch of stuff, and look out on our socials at Recent Act Pod, because Shane might just surprise you, including me, tossing out little reviews, video reviews popping up there, doing discussions on some. Tell the folks, like, you had one already, and then you have some more in store potentially.
Yeah, I have some more in store just because it didn't fit into our scheme for today. But two of the better movies that I've seen was Good Fortune with Keanu Reeves and Aziz Ansari. Yeah. And then Good Boy, which is the horror movie seen through the POV of man's best friend. So look out for those. I'll be getting those firing out later this week.
And the other one you did.
Oh, yeah. And the one that's out there now?
Yes.
Bad Man with one of my favorite actors, Stifler from American Pie. You can check that out.
Sean William Scott.
Yeah, Sean William Scott. For whatever reason, I'm always drawn to that guy. That's out now on our social, so go check that quick review out, and there'll be plenty more to come. So I'm excited to roll that segment out over stuff that we may not cover in this podcast. So, because there's so much sometimes.
I know. Yeah. And of course, we had to put certain TV stuff in the back burner. We got the Slow Horses finale. I watched the Only Murders in the Building finale. And then you said you caught Chad Powers. I didn't realize that was a finale already. That went fast.
6 episodes. I was shocked. I thought there'd be another episode. And then someone said that was the finale. I'm like, well, I hope they have a season 2. Is all I'm going to say. I was entertained by. We'll cover it later, but I was shocked that it was over so soon.
Yeah, we got to almost do, I don't know if it'll be the episode when we have to do the first part of the final season of Stranger Things, which is also in a few weeks. That maybe we'll just do like a big TV blowout a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. So definitely stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe. Tell a friend. Our numbers have been doing better, Shane. Tell the folks out there.
I mean, absolutely.
It is popping off a little bit, and all thanks to you all out there for listening and subscribing and doing all the things that we always ask for. Maybe a 5-star review if you have a chance wherever you are listening. But yeah, you got to come back next week, because if you want to see the extreme emotions of a grown man who just loves his alien predator universe of bounty hunter weird shit, this is the guy. So you need to see Shane go absolutely ape on some predator. Man, it's gonna be interesting. So be sure to come back next week for more recent activity.